This is take 1 of the Lucha construction tutorial. Oh, hey, what's up guys? Welcome to today's video. Today we're gonna be checking out how to put together the Flytanium Lucha. At least, I hope you're here for that, because if you clicked on the link and that's not what you're here for, why are you here? What? Go away. Go away. All right, so we're gonna turn this into this. Wow. First step is we gotta get rid of these handles. So, well, okay, here, step 1, open your washers with your Lucha that you have. What a good step 1. Gotta get in there and slice your washer thing open. Whatever you do, do not lose these washers, because if you lose them, you'll cry and be sad. Don't lose those. Here, let me show you. So these are used washers, and these are the new ones. You can see that over time, a groove has been kind of like put into the washer, and that's from the ball bearings rolling against the washer and slowly carving that groove out. And the reason that that's better is because that groove is much smoother than the surface of this washer on like a microscopic level. And so the balls will run truer and smoother on this than they will on this. So that's why we're gonna erase that later. So we're gonna ignore these washers for now, and we're gonna go, oh no, it almost went through the crack in the table. That would have been gone forever. We're gonna use these. So set those aside for now, keep them safe. Next thing you're gonna need is a nice Torx bit, specifically a T8. You will only need a T8 for this. You won't need a T6. These screws down here are T6s. We don't need to adjust them. We only need to adjust the pivot screws. We can take everything apart just by taking out those. So we're good to go there. Yeah, Penny wants to be in the tutorial. Hi, Penny. Do you know how to put together a Lucha? Don't cut yourself. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna get rid of these handles. To do that, extremely simple. We're just gonna, once again, a nice T8 bit. This is a Torx T8. Weehaw! Use a good bit or you can strip your pivots, so be careful. What you're gonna do is squeeze the handles together and unscrew. Take out both of these completely. One thing also is usually I like to try to like keep track of which one was the left one and which one was the right one, so I don't get hardware mixed up. So I'll just set each bit to either side, and then we need to get the barrels out. So I'll do the bite handle first. I'm just gonna use my Torx bit to poke that out, and as you can see, the knife falls apart. That's our bite handle. Put this barrel over there, and then I'm also gonna take the bearings, very carefully with the bearings, and put them over on either side. And then same thing over here, just poke out the barrel, pull it out, and there you go. So easy to disassemble. I really love the Lucha for that. Make sure to keep these somewhere safe. I say put them back in the box, so don't lose your original handles. Maybe you could use them later, who knows. Okay, so you'll notice the blade is a little bit greasy on mine, as well as the bearings I have. They're also a bit greasy. So I have a microfiber cloth, and I'm just going to use it. So you'll notice my bearings are different than what your bearings probably look like. That's because I have upgraded ceramic bearings that I bought off of a website. They function exactly the same as the regular Lucha bearings, but this is just another mod that you can do. I'll have a link in the video description if you want to get bearings like these, but these are literally just nicer bearings for the Lucha, and that's it. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna clean them out a bit. So I just kind of put them on the microfiber cloth and rub them around like this to help get, and you wanna do this with a microfiber cloth and not a paper towel, because if you do this with a paper towel, the little like pieces of paper towel can get stuck in your bearings and it'll actually make it worse, not better. So you wanna do this with a nice microfiber towel. One thing that I do is when I'm prepping to put together a knife, so I set everything out the way I want it to go. So I have the hardware for the bite side over here on the left, and I have the hardware for the safe side over here on the right, and And that's just kind of like how I have it laid out because that's how it's gonna go on the knife in a minute. I like to put the handle with the logo on the bite side. You can do it either way. It doesn't matter, whichever side you'd like the logo to be on, you know, pay attention to that. The only thing you have to make sure you're doing is that you need to make sure that both of these are on the open position so that it stops correctly. Because if you install them upside down, if you install them like this, then when it is in this position, the handles will stick out like that. And when it's in this position, they'll slap together because the Zen pins are in the wrong orientation. So you want to make sure, as you're lining everything up, the Zen pins are in the right orientation. What we're going to do is we're going to start by putting one of the washers onto the handle. What I'm going to do is add a tiny drop of lube. Can you see this, Brandon? I'm going to add a tiny drop of lube here, just around where the washer will go. I'm going to take the washer and I'm going to put it on there with that drop of lube. There we go. We've got a washer. Next, we take this and slide it in through the bottom, like that. And so that's what's going to hold the washer in place. So what we're going to do essentially in a second is I'm going to hold it like this with my thumb, and then I'm going to slide the blade in there and push this up through the blade. But for now, you can just kind of like leave it shoopy-doo together as one piece. And we're going to put these on the blade. So we're going to take our bearings and put them on either side of the safe handle side of the blade. So I'm going to put both those on there, and I'm going to pinch them with my fingers to like hold that all together. All right, so I'm holding the bearings to the knife, and I'm going to slide it all together like that. All right, and then once it's in there, you can let go of the bearings, and you're going to push the barrel up through everything. So I push the barrel in, and now it's all together. You can see it swings. Problem is, very loose. It's because we haven't put in the other washer. So now, what we have to do, take this washer, and we're gonna shove it in there like that, okay? So you wanna go in here, push the barrel down just enough to let the washer slide in. You can see it starts to go through. Use our hand to kind of like push the washer into place. And then as it starts to get into place, you can use a pen or you can use any tools you have to kind of like help it into position and center it. And something you can use is you can also use the Torx bit that you have to kind of jam it in there and push it into place. So now that I've got that, if I wiggle the handle a bit, well, I'm pushing up. So I'm wiggling the handle and I'm pushing with my finger on the barrel at the same time and wiggling. It'll click into place. And that's it, sliding all the way through. And now you're good to go. So this side is done. And now all I have to do is screw in this. I'm just gonna go ahead and put in this right now to hold that together. And that can just be, that screw is in there loosely. It doesn't need to be super tight right now. Next up, we're gonna do the bite handle, and it's the same deal. So first things first, and we're gonna add our drop of lube and put one of these into place. Get my barrel, slide that in from the bottom, and now comes the hard part, where we take both of our bearings and we pinch them to the blade. So I'm gonna try to do this all at once. Okay, so with my left hand, I'm trying to get the, oh no, come on, come on. And there it is. So we wanna hold that right like that, okay? And so we put it all together, slide it in, and push it up. Come on. Got it. Now we just have one last washer. So once again, take your Torx bit, push the barrel down a bit, and then we're gonna take our washer and we're gonna just stick it in there. So as you can see, I'm forcing it in there like that. And once it gets far enough in there, I can take this Torx bit and kind of push it a little bit further. You can take some different angles at this, but you're just trying to push that washer into place. So now that it's almost in place, as you can see, the barrel is sticking out a little bit. As you can see, it's still sticking out a bit. It's because it got caught on the washer. So then I twist the whole knife and it clicks together just like that. And now it's installed. And so now you want to squeeze both handles, which will help hold the barrel in place as you screw the knife together. So now we're going to race the washers. You don't need to carve a very deep groove. As I said, Flytanium sent out hardened washers for everybody. So this deep groove was made in a soft washer, and this groove would have gotten even deeper with time. Because they sent out hardened washers now, the groove won't be nearly as deep, but it will be just as important to have. We're gonna tighten. We're gonna tighten it a fair bit. So as you can see, this handle moves freely. This one does not. And we're gonna do that to the other side too. So we're gonna tighten both. You don't have to like crank on it, but where it's tight enough that like neither handle really wants to move. So if I do that, as you can see, it's like it's a solid piece. So then with both handles, I then force the knife to move back and forth. And as you start to do this, you'll notice that the knife, every time you move it, will start to feel slightly smoother. So you do it back and forth and it feels slightly smoother every time. And then after you've done it for a few times and it's starting to feel a little bit smoother, then you can go in and tighten it a bit more, just a tiny bit. If there's any give, you want to tighten it a tiny bit more and then keep going. And you want to do this for, I would say, about 10 minutes. You can probably do it for like 5 minutes and be fine, but you just want to do it a lot, because the more you do it, the smoother the knife will feel afterwards. Okay, so I've been doing this for a hot minute. Oh no.
It's been 47 years.
It's been 47 years. Now, it feels pretty smooth when I do it back and forth. Like it doesn't feel very grindy, which is a good sign. So I can now loosen the pivots and tune it. So I loosen the pivots completely. So I'm gonna fully unscrew one of these, like that. You gotta shake it. You gotta shake the Loctite before you use it. Oh, you gotta shake it. Everybody remembers the headphone tool. That's what I suggest, it's the best thing. You can also use like a toothpick though. I just like the headphone tool. Just gonna squirt a little bit of Loctite on there. Look at that, we got a drop of Loctite. I'm gonna plop that right in the pivot. And I'm gonna go for broke. I'm gonna add 2 little drops of Loctite, because I'm a boss like that. Because the Lucha really likes to unloctite itself. And basically for this, what you want to do is you want to go until it like just barely starts to tighten. This is how you're going to tune the knife. So when I drop it and let it go, you can see it swings good. What you want to do to tune the bearing knife is you're going to tighten it until it gets to the point where it still swings good, but it doesn't move. So the way to check if it moves is to grab the blade by the sides and wiggle the whole structure back and forth. So grab the blade and then take the handle and move it back and forth. And if you can feel any wiggle, then you should like keep tightening it. So what I'm gonna do is I felt a little bit of wiggle there. So I'm gonna go in here and just tighten it a tiny bit until I feel some resistance. As you can see, the handle still moves. Remember also, the more you flip it, the smoother it'll get, because once again, it's on bearings. See, that's starting to catch. So as you drop it and it catches right there, that's what you don't want. You want it to freely swing all the way up to here without catching like that, okay? So that's not good. Yep, and there's 0 movement there, so we're really close. So I'm gonna loosen a bit. There we go. Yeah, so that swings all the way, and there's very little movement in the pivot. As you can see, I've tuned it to very, very little play if I try to like flex the knife. But yeah, that's basically everything that you want to do. Now that I've Loctited this, I'm just gonna take this knife and I'm not gonna touch it for 24 hours. If you Loctite your knife, please let it sit for 24 hours. Don't touch it once you Loctite it. Please, go to bed. That's something else, bad. If you want to, you can add, I suggest waiting until the Loctite cures, because if you add lube to a system, something that can happen is the lube will go like into all the nooks and crannies, and it can find its way up into the screw, into the barrel, and like lubricate the screw, which you don't want. Wait until the Loctite cures, then the next day, you can take your lube, add like a couple drops if you want to. You don't need to, as I said, it's a bearing system. The bearings really don't need to be lubricated that much, if at all. So if it's running smoothly, don't worry about it. But if you want to, you can add a couple drops of lube, just don't add too much, because if you add too much, you're going to get a lot of dust in your pivots. Of course, if you do add too much, just take a microfiber cloth, absorb the extra, you're good to go. And that's it. Basically only a page's worth of long-winded and boring instructions required to have this fantastically funky fresh flipper fly feverishly from fist to fist. Thanks for watching this tutorial. Go play with your knife.